Good morning, all you beautiful morning meditators. Welcoming everyone. We gather to study and to practice for the benefit of all beings and for this constantly changing, living earth of which we are a part. We come together, all different ages and various ethnicities, cultural heritage, and religious background. We have various sexual orientations and gender identities and socioeconomic groups and abilities. And realizing that there is suffering that's caused by biases and prejudices, and we aspire to do no harm and to dismantle barriers that cause separation and suffering, and recognizing that our freedom, our liberation is interconnected with the liberation of all. And part of that happens by simply acknowledging the suffering that is sometimes caused perhaps by our ancestors, acknowledging the ancestral lands that we inhabit. Here in Portland is the Clackamas and the various Chinook peoples and the Kalapuya, Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, and the Siletz, and all of these communities that have made their homes along the Columbia River for 11,000 years. So just acknowledging that we are in communities of many diverse Native peoples who continue to live and work here, and respectfully acknowledging and honoring all the indigenous communities, past and present and future, and being grateful for their ongoing and vibrant presence. And as we settle in our cushion, in our place of practice, acknowledging all of those who have come before, the Asian immigrants from China, Sri Lanka, Japan, Korea, Thailand, India, Cambodia, Vietnam, and also particularly our Theravadan practicing countries of Southeast Asia that brings this Theravadan lineage of practice that we learn and sit with, all of it coming through lay people, monks and nuns, having great appreciation for the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the three jewels. And as you've heard probably many times, various quotations about how the Sangha is all of the spiritual life. When asked by Ananda whether there was much advantage to being in Sangha together, suggesting that maybe it was 50%. And he actually said, all of the spiritual life. So we gather, and you know personally how important it is for you to sit every day with this group. We practice on our own, and we practice together, acknowledging the teachings that the Buddha was so generously willing eventually to teach to us and teach to nuns and monks, and traveled through all of these countries. And so paying homage to the Buddha for that ability to see for ourselves, really see for ourselves the impermanent nature of all conditions that come to our senses, that arise and pass away, and really realizing deeply the impermanent nature of things can really show us freedom. That there's no attaching, because everything changes. And there's no sense of self, really. Anicca, anatta, and dukkha, the three characteristics, the three characteristics of existence. Sometimes to an outsider that might sound sort of pessimistic, but as we really see for ourselves through watching the breath and through attending to whatever object comes to us from each of the senses, and we notice that when we grasp and cling to it, it disappears. Impermanence. Not just something we talk about, but something we see directly. We know it directly. And we can know it by choosing the breath at the nostrils or the belly, or choosing a sitting point, feeling our body sitting in our spot, our noble seat. And with this idea of impermanence, the poem that came to me the other day is from Mary Oliver, and it has that new word she made up in it. We'll see how it fits into the sentences. But as you know, the depth of the fires of Maui have affected me deeply, since Maui was my home for 35 years, and everyone I know, no matter where on Maui they're living, they are helping someone who has lost everything because of the fires. So this is called On Losing a House. The bumblebees know where their home is. They've memorized every stalk and leaf of the field. They fall from the air at exactly the right place. They crawl under the soft grasses. They enter the darkness humming. Where will we go with our table and chairs, our bed, our 9,000 books, our TV, PC, VCR, our cat, who is 16 years old? Where will we put down our dishes and our blue carpets? Where will we put up our rose-colored rice paper shades? We never saw such a beautiful house, though it dipped toward the sea, though it shook and creaked, though it said to the rain, "Come in," and had a ghost at night. She rattled the teacups with her narrow hands, then left the cupboard open. And once she slipped, or maybe it wasn't a slip, and called to our cat, who ran to the empty room. We only smiled. Unwise, unwise. Oh, what is money? Oh, never in our lives have we thought about money. Oh, we have only a little money. Oh, now in our sleep, we dream of finding money. But someone else already has money. Money, money, money. Someone else can sign the papers, can turn the key. Oh, dark, oh, heavy, oh, mossy money. Amazing how the rich don't even hesitate. Up go the sloping roof lines, out goes the garden, down goes the crooked green tree, out goes the old sink and the little windows, and there you have it, a house like any other. And there goes the ghost. And then another. They glide over the water away, waving and waving their fog-colored hands. Don't tell us how to love. Don't tell us how to grieve, or what to grieve, or how loss shouldn't sit down like a gray bundle of dust in the deepest pockets of our energy. Don't laugh at our belief that money isn't everything. Don't tell us how to behave in anger, in longing, in loss, in homesickness. Don't tell us, dear friends. Goodbye, house. Goodbye, sweet and beautiful house, we shouted, and it shouted back, goodbye to you, and lifted itself down from the town and set off like a packet of clouds across the harbor's sandy ring, the tossing bell, the untowned point, and turned slightly, wordlessly, into the keep of the wind, where it floats still, where it plunges and rises still on the black and dreamy sea. Makes me think of this house we carry around with us, our bodies, our home in this lifetime. And the verse in the Dhammapada from the Buddha about tearing down the house. The lodge poles, the ridge pole crumbling, which is what we get to see every time we pay attention. Settling ourselves in this fathom-long body. Letting the heart and the mind and the body come together in one place in this moment. Noticing so many things that come together, these aggregates that create our house. We use it for this period of time, and yet there's that paradox of the relative and the absolute. We also see that it's impermanent, non-personal, doesn't really belong to us, which we can see in each moment that we notice there might be grasping or clinging in the mind, in the heart. And yet we can see it as, oh, this is a mind filled with clinging. This is the mind filled with aversion. This is the mind filled with happiness. So we have mindfulness with us at all times. We call upon it in this time of a formal meditation practice of sitting down, so that we can really bring awareness to less stimulus. And so we choose that single object of the breath, or the touch point, or the changing objects that arise one at a time at each of the sense doors of hearing and tasting and touching and seeing and smelling, and the thought door. And we hold it all in a big cauldron of compassion and of kindness. Being gentle with ourselves. Noticing if harming comes into the mind. Striving toward non-harming. Sometimes we think challenging thoughts about ourselves, this subtle way of harm, but without shame or blame about it. We just hold ourselves kindly. Dearly. As we tame and train the heart and mind to have a little bit deeper concentration, so that all of those busy thoughts, or even those aches and pains in the body that arise as we sit in one position, appear. We can find curiosity and interest in what's happening right there in that moment. Seeing clearly for ourselves impermanence and the changing nature of arising, conditions coming together, arising, staying for a certain amount of time, and passing. It brings joy to the heart and mind to notice this, to have enough interest to pay attention, one moment at a time, here and now. and time again, we just begin again. Being present, mindfulness in the foreground, awareness and mindfulness are present with whatever comes into the mind. Present with the rising and falling of the breath. Present with a sensation in the body. Present with thoughts in the mind. Without attachment and clinging. We notice. We notice when we do have attachment and clinging, without judgment or shame or blame. We're just here, present. Mindfulness, awareness, wisdom arises, which shows us thoughts in the heart and mind that may be unskillful, may be causing us harm. And sometimes just our awareness that, oh, this is not helpful. We can see it leave on its own accord or incline the heart and mind toward a more skillful heart and mind set. That's why we always hold ourselves in kindness and in compassion. We just return again. Nurturing freedom from attachment. Nurturing non-harming, letting go of the use of force. As it's said in the Dhammapada, those who remain friendly amid the hostile, at peace among the aggressive, and who do not attach themselves to that upon which others depend, are great beings. Those who speak truth and give gentle encouragement, contending with no one. These do I call great beings. We are freeing our heart and mind, watching it. Watching when we attach, watching when things let go. in that same chapter in the Dhammapada is the encouragement. There are beings who travel the difficult path across the dangerous swamp of defiling passions, traverse the ocean of delusion. Through the darkness of ignorance and go beyond. They are sustained by wise contemplation, secure in freedom from doubt, liberated. Such beings are great indeed. And so we have this wise contemplation. Discovering for ourselves what this house is really made of. over and over again, waking up to this moment. We just begin again. Holding ourselves in kindness and compassion, finding interest in what's happening, really seeing clearly the true nature of what happens when we cling to something that arises. Knowing with direct experience by simply using the breath or the touch point, feeling the movement of warmth and coolness, roughness, smoothness, all the sensations that arise in the body and in the heart and in the mind. Searching for the builder of the house. As the Buddha said in that stanza of the Dhammapada, for many years I've wandered, looking for but not finding the house builder who caused my suffering. But now you are seen, and you shall build no more. Your rafters are dislodged, and the ridgepole is broken. And so we see over and over the changing nature of conditioned things that are arising due to their own conditions. We notice the beginning, the middle, and the end. There's nothing to grasp onto. If we try to make our breath softer or harder or longer or shorter, it does what it wants to do in the end. And we are here with mindful awareness, open to every experience coming and going, holding all of them gently and kindly, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. Holding ourselves in this kindness, in this goodwill, knowing that this as a family of humanity together, as a family of sentient beings, we know that all these conditioned things arise and pass away. And we see this clearly with mindfulness. With kindness, with compassion. And as we hold ourselves in this kindness, in this compassion, when things are challenging, may we also include others in our heart and mind space, letting this cultivation of goodness include those that we're close with, friends, family, loved ones, our benefactors and teachers. May we join in this great spaciousness of kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, the immeasurable emotions of the divine abodes. As Sister Ayakema says, the only emotions worth having. May we hold this space of kindness, compassion, equanimity, noticing the subtle joys of our own practice and its benefits, having empathetic joy for others when we realize their accomplishments and their joys. May we have compassion for those in sorrow. May equanimity keep us from falling into extremes. As we let this inclination of the heart and mind include others that we don't know, and even others that we have difficulty with. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from inner and outer harm, be safe and protected, and have ease. Whether they swim or fly or crawl or walk, known and unknown, those in the deep depths of the ocean and the heights of the sky, and buried in the ground, the worms and the gophers, the eagles, the beings unseen. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from harm, safe and protected, and have ease. Anicca vata sankhara uparavaya domino upakitawa meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence, and seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, and that happiness is peace. May the goodness of this practice be of benefit to you and to all beings. Thank you so much for your practice. Letting this space in our hearts and minds that we've nurtured be shared with others as we open our eyes and gently let light in. Let that kindness spread to others in our circle. Compassion and equanimity and joy.